Okay, so Montrezl Harrell signed a 2-year deal with the Los Angeles Lakers with a player option in the first year. And this comes at the eve of the Lakers holding out, waiting for what Dwight Howard was going to do. And at the 11th hour, Dwight Howard chose the Philadelphia 76ers. And then an hour later, the Lakers agreed in principle to sign Montrezl Harrell. Obviously, this was a plan B for the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, let's talk quickly about Montrezl Harrell. Montrezl Harrell is good at floating around the basket, below the basket. He's great at putting in offensive rebounds. If you want to throw an alley to him, he's going to catch it. So he's great at that. But his liability is defense. He cannot defend his opponent. Okay, he couldn't defend his opponent to save his life. And if you don't believe me, just look at the tape, particularly the series with the Mavericks and the Nuggets, and you can see how much of a liability he was. Okay, now the Clippers could not cover that liability because they didn't, have a lot of big men that could cover that liability of Montrezl Harrell. But when he signs with the Lakers, AD can cover that liability. Okay, so how much of a liability he's going to be with the Lakers, we don't know until they start playing the games, okay? But I can see a lot of experimental packages where they'll have Montrezl Harrell floating around the basket and AD floating around the perimeter. I can see them try to experiment with that. AD loves that perimeter shot, also that three-point shot, all right? So I can see them experimenting, but ultimately, AD is going to be closer to the basket to be more of a defensive helper for Montrezl Harrell. Now, if you look at Montrezl Harrell, them signing Montrezl Harrell, and you also look at what they did trading for Dennis, these guys are going to be replacing Rondo and Dwight Howard. They got younger. Of course they got younger. But when it comes to experience, they're losing that, particularly playoff experience that they had with Dwight Howard and Rondo. They're losing that by signing Harris and Dennis, all right? So they got younger. Dennis is supposed to be, giving LeBron additional rest, on the bench where he can sit down on the bench. He don't have to utilize all his energy throughout the game. We're just going to have to wait and see how that plays out. And they're going to probably experiment packages where they'll have Dennis at the 1 and have LeBron at the 3. You're going to see them doing experimental packages throughout the season, but LeBron loves being at the 1. Okay, so we're just going to have to see how that plays out. But yeah, they got younger by signing Montrezl Harrell and Dennis. And this obviously means that they probably not going to have enough money for Rondo. Rondo's looking for somewhat of a payday. And there's a lot of teams out there that have more money, more cap flexibility than the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, the Los Angeles Lakers could do it, okay? But they have other holes they need to fill. And, and they already found Dennis. And I think that they're going to start there. And, they're out of the Chris Paul trade. There was thoughts of them trying to get Chris Paul, and Chris Paul wound up with the Phoenix Suns. So there was already looking for a replacement for Rondo in the early going of the NBA, early going of the free agency for the NBA, okay? And the NBA free agency started yesterday, all right? So I think, a lot of people are making this way too serious. I think if you look at it from the Clippers perspective, that's not it was one of the reasons why the Mavericks almost beat them in the first series. And it was one of the reasons why they couldn't hold their lead with the Nuggets. They couldn't close it out with the Nuggets. One of the reasons, wasn't the main reason of Montrezl Harrell, but he was definitely one of the reasons. But the Clippers are still going to be looking for a veteran point guard. And I'm assuming Rondo is going to go to the Clippers. And, big men, particularly big men like Montrezl Harrell, you can find a big man that has similar athletic ability like Montrezl Harrell, but can do a little bit more than Montrezl Harrell. And there's a lot of signings out there that can easily replace Montrezl Harrell. I wasn't a huge fan of Montrezl Harrell. I remember Montrezl Harrell when the season started. He was talking about, in hindsight, how this is going to be a contract year. He's going to get close to the max. I just didn't fathom what team is going to give Montrezl Harrell close to the max. I know the Clippers wasn't. By any stretch of the imagination, the Clippers were not going to give Montrezl Harrell close to the max, okay? He was thinking, he had big dreams of a big contract, and I just did not see it. Now, with this, he's making close to he's making $9 million and some change, close to 10. But and that's that's some good money. That's some money that you definitely can't sneeze at that money. There's a player option in this contract where he can play for the Lakers for 1 year and he can decide to go elsewhere. And I feel like he's going to pull that trigger if there's interest in him in the market next year. So he's going to have to play it out and wait and see. Hopefully he can win a title with the Los Angeles Lakers. So that can, this is talk of later on down the road. Future can change. The Lakers may not even win the title next year. So we'll just have to wait and see how this plays out. But the Lakers are the favorites, all right? They're the defending champions. And when you look at their talent, they're all the favorites, okay? But there's, you got these other teams that's on the rise and on the come up as well. The Golden State Warriors, everyone had dreams and aspirations of them making it deep in the playoffs. Now with Clay going down, now people are having different perspectives about the Golden State Warriors. Okay, so in other news, Gallinari signed with the Hawks. I think that's going to work out well for the Hawks. The Hawks are going to win more games by having him there. That's pretty much it. There was other signings, but I wanted to talk about the Montrezl Harrell thing because a lot of people was hitting me up wanting me to do a video on this. I wasn't going to do a video on this because overall, I just didn't think Montrezl Harrell was the guy. Okay, he's one of the guys, but he's not the guy. All right, so that's all I got for today. I will talk to you guys later. Deuces.